Hello, Rise and Thrivers. How are you? So good to have you back. And if you are new to Rise and Thrive, we welcome you here. We are so excited that all of you are here. Let me tell you about Rise and Thrive. Rise and Thrive Together is a vibrant community committed to educating, equipping, and empowering you to have the life that you want. We do that through real talk, real actions, real results. I am so excited to be here with my sister tonight, and we're going to bring on our special guest, our premier sponsor. Sis, how are you doing? Hey, Reg.
Hey, sis. I love the hair. Your hair is
Oh,
so cute.
thank you.
I love it, love it, love it. I am doing good. We have got an hour show tonight. So, how awesome is it that everybody gets to spend an hour together as a community? Together as a community.
I love it. I love it. Oh, I forgot to tell you guys what's our topic for this month as we close out 2023 and take a bold and audacious step into 2024. Our theme. I'm so excited to say it. I started to say it and then I was like, no. Our theme for the month of December is your words create your world. So we're about to get real serious. We give you real talk all the time, but we need some real action from you. So as we go through tonight, what I want you to drop in is what bold step are you going to take? I asked you that last episode and I'm asking again because it may have changed and maybe you didn't respond. And so we want a response from you. Now I'm gonna turn it over to Reg and let her introduce our guest because I'm super stoked to hear about these nuggets that he is going to drop.
Yes, awesome, everybody. So here we are tonight, a special hour episode with one very, very special person that's been in my life for 25 years. It is Hal Eisenberg. He is the founder and CEO of two organizations, the Eisenberg Leadership Academy, that we call TELA, and Windows of Opportunity, WOO. TELA was created to build the world's first and most comprehensive education system for raising 21st century leaders and engineering a society that is going to support them. TELA is designing a world where youths are taking the center stage and creating positive changes in the areas that most concern them by providing global platforms for youth empowerment and leadership. Its mission is to create and deploy innovative and impactful programs that shift the way we educate and empower youth. A shift away from disempowerment to possibility, away from differences to acceptance, and away from limits to opportunity, which brings us right into Windows of Opportunity, a nonprofit agency that essentially is a series of community outreach initiatives built for youth by youth. It partners with kids and teens and young adults ages 6 through 24 to develop in-school and after-school programs, workshops, conferences, and curriculums for themselves and their peers. These programs form partnerships with local school districts, university, and community social service agencies. WOO's goal is to assist and empower our at-risk youth in designing and educating and participating to positive leadership roles through social emotional learning initiatives, initiative programs, workshops, and curriculums that address all the compartments of their life while building their self-esteem. So how does he go to do it? He has had creative, innovative programs for over 25 years. He is accredited with implementing and coordinating events and raising over $500,000 for various charities. He's created programs from young people interested in developing their own self-expression through music, fashion, and film. Hal has authored several age-appropriate leadership curriculums that range from K to 5, and then the next group from 6th to 12th grade, and higher education platforms with social emotional learning activities that provide students with an expansive understanding of ever-changing society. His vision at its core is that the world becomes one healthy community through higher consciousness education. The systemic approach he has built with his team promotes healthy communication to encourage trust-based relationships, which support acceptance of each other and reduces fear to create an expressive, open society. And this leads to people connecting, to expanding their souls through a higher love consciousness, which helps people live optimal lives and supports others to do so as well. Come on. That is what we are talking about and why we have Hal Eisenberg come onto the stage. Hal, woohoo, come join Rise and Thrive with my sister. Coming on Raquel. Woo, woo.
Hello, Regina. Hello, Raquel. Thank you so much for having me again. I think I said this last time. That bio is ridiculously long. I feel like the show's over. It's like, thank you, goodbye, everybody.
No, I love it though, because I didn't even get to like all your experience, right? For me, I just put that first half, guys. I know it's longer, but like I really loved reading it because you are what Raquel and I talk about all day long, right? Every word came out was community, community empowerment, community leadership, community consciousness through actionable steps. And you have created those curriculums, and you've created that for youth to take that on themselves and do that out into the world. Come on. You know, we took this on later on in life, right, sis? We like went to school, got our degree like you have, but you are doing it from where I'm excited as a mom with a 7-year-old. Like Lexi gets to live in this world, right? That type of world. You know, and when Raquel talks real, talk, that's real talk, real actions and real results. And you have been innovative for over 25 years doing that. So that's important to me.
Thank you. I feel really blessed. I I honestly don't know how this all happened, or maybe I do. I mean, but I don't know how we got to this point. Sometimes I stop and I'm like, oh my God, like, did all of this happen? Because at many levels, I feel like I'm just starting, right? And there's no doubt, like, we live in a complex world today, right? So I feel like the programs that I've created, well, first of all, I'm blessed because they weren't all just me. I mean, I have a phenomenal team around me. So, like, I'm here on the show, but I mean, I really want to give kudos to my team. They work day and night, and they've worked for years trying to like put all this together. But in our complex world today, like, this is just like a drop in the bucket. There's so much more that we need to do. There's so many more conversations we need to have. There's so many, great things like Rise and Thrive together. I had a crazy day, which we're going to get into in a few seconds, I'm sure. But like, if I had to pick and choose like my day, it was like, I need to be on Rise and Thrive today, so that we can have this conversation and we can keep pushing, the difficult conversations forward so that we can have a better humanity for today and tomorrow and for Lexi and all the other youth,
Yes.
I love that. I love how you said having the difficult conversations and moving them forward. And that's something that most people shy away from. We don't want to deal with the difficult conversations. We want everything to be easy, but then you don't get to grow when you only have the easy conversations, and you don't get an understanding of something, someone else, or someplace else when you have these easy conversations. So I really and truly appreciate just that small nugget that you already dropped for me, and you didn't even know it. But I think that's phenomenal. And I want to say I love having those difficult conversations because it pushes me into a different space. So thank you for saying that, Hal. When you said it, I was like, wow, yeah, we need to have that. So I'm glad you're here. And, we're always happy to have you. And I'm excited if you want to share what happened and how your day was. Because I know for me, my day, I want to scream, but no more than you do. So I get it.
Except
No pressure.
if I'm going to scream, it might hurt. First of all, let's have some of those complex conversations, and let's start with like your theme, right? Your theme of the month is words create your reality, right?
Mhm.
And I was just, when Regina told me that was the theme today, I was like, this is so perfect, right? Because, words create our reality, but words don't teach us. Like, only our life experiences teach us, and we let words control like who we are. It kind of ties into our last conversation that we had about love and the energy of love, right? There's an energy behind words that we put, and then there's an energy behind our experiences. So I'm going to give you a perfect story of what happened to me today. I'm usually the guy that pushes through the difficult things. My life experiences have taught me from a young age, you need to do this, you need to push forward, you're going to let people down, you just got to keep going, keep going, keep going. And, I just stack it all up. And I don't and those are all words in my head. I don't listen to the life experiences that I have. And the last couple of weeks, my health has been deteriorating, which is kind of partially why I'm propped up right now. But I was listening to the words and I wasn't listening to my life experiences. So this morning I'm driving to work and I know that I'm sick, right? So I get to this corner and I'm at a red light and I'm like, I have two choices. And I was like, universe, what has life experiences taught me, And when am I going to start listening to the energy and putting myself first? So I had two options. I said, I can go straight, which will take me to my job and do what I think I'm supposed to do. Or I can make a left turn and go to the emergency room, which is where I know I need to be, and actually put myself first, So I decided to make that left turn. And that ended up sprawling into a whole bunch of, we're going to talk about words creating a reality. It put me on a path of well-being. It's putting me on a path of listening to my body. And it's putting me on a path of being hopeful. Well, most people would be like, oh my God, you're sick. You've got this, you've got that. We're going to take the energy of those words and we're going to shift them into a positive.
Mm.
Does that make sense? Or am I already blabbing it all over the place?
No, it makes so much sense. It's really great that you said that, Hal. I was in a training about a month ago. It was a new dance movement format that I will be rolling out in the new year. And most dance formats don't really talk about mindset. And so this particular woman who created it, we spent about 2 hours on mindset. And that's what she's talking about. Taking a moment of intentionality about what we're going to say. So we've learned, a lot of us in the social work field, in the psychology field, in the coaching field, of, these limiting beliefs and then growth mindsets, right? So she calls them above the line and below the line, right? So there's this line for us, whatever that is. Each one of us has that personally for us. But what she says, you can use those words like I can't, or it's hard, or I don't wanna, and all of those things, right? And she calls those the below the line, which in many places they call it the fixed mindset. And then the words that, I will, I'm going to, like that kind of, that raises the vibrational energy of taking that, like you said earlier, an up level, a rise level, a pulling us forward and ahead, versus the other words are lower vibrational, that kind of keeps us stuck and then gets us into that overwhelm and to the point of even procrastination and resigned. So I love that you said that.
Absolutely. And I think the two most powerful words, I think we probably heard the saying before, but we can go a little bit deeper into it. But the two most powerful words in the English language is I am, right? So anything that follows that, you're claiming that, right? And you say like, I am powerful, I am healthy, or you can say I am sick. Right? So I am is really, really strong. And that really puts us in this position of being the creators of our own reality. And what you were saying about that fixed mindset in that line, that's a muscle we have to practice, right? And that takes really, really diving into yourself, right? And literally practice your knowing. Like I know I am healthy, right? But you have to practice that. You can't just say it, right? You have to be in that energy, just like love. There's the energy of the experience that you want to create, your reality.
So when I hear the words I am and whatever follows it, it's not only your mindset that makes that shift to whatever word, however you complete that sentence or statement, but it's also your physical body, right? And when you say I am tired, your shoulders kind of come forward, and your stance, your way of being physically matches what you say. And it's amazing we don't pay attention to it because we were never taught to pay attention to it. But when you become self-aware and you hear the words that you're using and you pay attention to your body and how it shifts, whether your shoulders sunk forward, your head is down, whatever you say after I am, your body, your mind is creating it. Your body is going to start to show that, which tumbles into you are going to behave that way. Right? So Hal had a heck of a day, but at the end of it, Hal is still here. He doesn't care that he's propped up. Hal is not interested in looking good. And it's not that you look bad, my brother. That's not what I'm saying. Let me throw that in there. But Hal is not concerned about looking good. What Hal is concerned about is that he has a message inside that he has to get out. Notice I didn't say that he wants to. It doesn't matter what he wants. He has a word that he has to get out to the audience, because for him not to share his message means that he is selfish. And clearly by that extensive bio, he is anything but selfish. So not only is he speaking about it, he's showing and leading the way. That's why it's called the Eisenberg Leadership, not Fellowship, Academy. And guys, if you don't grab hold of it, I suggest you grab hold of it. Get what I'm saying to you? If you don't grab it, I suggest you grab what is being dropped tonight, because this is going to start the flow of your words create your reality. Some people say your words create your world. Doesn't matter. Your words are creating it. So we're going to get you out of the blame game, because we talked about that several episodes ago. Right? And if you don't like the direction your life is taking, it's up to you to make different choices. That's how this is going to go. December, we are going to fully gut punch you, and we're not going to ease up. So if you're not ready to get gut punched, I suggest y'all find another channel to watch, listen to, or whatever it is. My feelings will not be hurt. My sister's feelings will not be hurt. And I know Hal's feelings won't be hurt. You know why? Because we are here so that you can live a life that you love, not a life where you simply just exist. And in order to do that, you have to shift your mindset. You have to change the words that are coming out of your damn mouth. Now, prior to us getting on air, let me just take this for a second. I said, you know what? I just had a heck of a day where I felt like I was being pulled in all directions, and I wasn't. Let me throw that in there. And I just felt like screaming. That's how I felt. But no matter what and how I felt, I can definitely shift my mindset, because I know there's a message that needs to get out, and I would be doing not only myself, but you guys a disservice not to get that message out. Can y'all do that? Can you see that in yourself? Because I tell you something, it takes something to feel one way, and then you show up another, because you know what your mission is and you know what your purpose is. And we're going to get you real clear this month. I love this topic. Absolutely.
You can tell.
There's some words that are coming out. She's like, okay, sis, but what I'm hearing from you is an excuse. And I'm like, oh, damn. Okay. Yeah. So I need to make the shift. But you have to be willing to take ownership of your words and stop pointing the finger and blaming others. Okay.
Oof. I've never had chills going up and down my body. Like, seriously, I hang out with Raquel a lot, guys, like via phone. This girl's in Jersey, I'm in Florida. And we have some deep conversations, but that resonated. So I've got to like jump in, and I'm now pointing it out to both of you. I'd like to start with Hal first, and then Rock, give your perspective too. So I've got everything that you just said. And as someone who totally, and I love how you started it, is about self-care. Let's start with that line again, right? Because Adelia writes, I had to find my identity, and then I was able to find I am. So I want to put that on a shelf for a second so we dive into that. But I want to go where you were saying, because there is like, it doesn't matter how I feel, right? When you know that why pulls you forward and has that purpose, that message to get out, to make that impact, right, in the world. So I'm just asking Hal, starting with you first, like when I say about self-care, you know, there's a lot that the mind can start hearing in that, being like, oh, okay, so, you know, I'm super sick and so on and so forth. And so, but my message needs to be out there. So I'm just curious about what you want to share with viewers, what your take is on that, what Rock said, because I agree, but I want to get real clear in our message about the self-care part of that, and ensuring that, you know, we're talking about our, you know, putting ourselves first, like you beautifully said when you first started, because you would have went to school, but you chose that. And what else would you want to like drop some of those nuggets and what your thoughts about self-care, and while still like doesn't matter how you feel, right? When the message is so clear that you need to get out there.
Well, I think so. I've got three different thoughts that I'm trying to kind of combine into one, right? So I'm trying. What's going on for me right now? What's coming up for me right now is the relationship between self-care and self-awareness. So is self-care part of self-awareness, or is self-awareness part of self-care? And I love what Odelia said. Like, I had to find my identity, and then I was able to say I am. Finding your identity, like that's a journey, right? Like knowing who you are, right? And we throw words around. So Brian Ackley, I don't know if he's on here, but Brian is on my team, and he's my co-host on the Transforming Education podcast, which is a whole other conversation. And we got into a conversation a couple of episodes ago around self-awareness, because self-awareness is considered a core competency under the umbrella of social and emotional learning, which is like a model that I really believe in and I'm very passionate and that I promote in the education system. And I think is very, very misunderstood. But what I'm learning with self-awareness and what we discussed is it's not taking seriously. There's so many layers to trying to figure out like who you are, right? And being on that journey. And we're not teaching that to our youth or to each other, to our peers as adults. And it's such a needed competency to move yourself through life. So if you're going to sit here and say, what is self-care? I think, the first step of self-care is like really being on this journey of self-awareness, and not just saying, oh yeah, I'm self-aware, or I took a class, or I learned how to meditate. It's a life journey. It's a commitment, So today I had to take my muscle and listen, we're all human beings. Like, I was in the ER, and it was so interesting because I had many hospital visits 5 years. So I don't mind sharing my story really quick. I was diagnosed with cancer 5 years ago. I've been on this cancer journey that has opened up this incredible world of spirituality for me and love. And 5 years ago, and 4 years ago, and 3 years ago, during different surgeries and different experiences, there was so much fear. And my experience was extremely negative. Today I went in and they were like, oh, we found this. And I was like, okay, cool. Like, I don't have cancer. Like, my mindset has like completely changed because I've been on this journey of, okay, what is this moment saying to me? What when you're on that journey of self-care and self-awareness, every moment isn't a curse. It's an opportunity to learn, right? And you literally have to be present in that moment. So here I am in the emergency room, not to be gross, but I've got a Foley catheter strapped to my leg here, which is one of the reasons I'm propped back, because I would be in pain, which is cool. Like, instead of saying I'm in pain, I'm in the process of healing, right? But I have to catch myself, right? So in that moment in the hospital, I'm like, okay, what is this moment teaching me? And I did that today. And I wasn't coming from a place of fear. I was laying on a stretcher going, okay, what is this moment about? Right? That's self-awareness, right? That's self-care. And what can I learn about this moment so that I can continue to be the best version of myself moving forward? And one of those things was I need to take a time out from work. For those of you who know me out there, the fact that I even said that sentence is like hell is freezing over and the Rangers are going to win the Stanley Cup. Sorry, Ranger fans. So
the Jets will win the Super Bowl.
And the Jets will win the Super Bowl, right? But I'm like, I've got to take a time out, and I also have to pick and choose where I want my message to be and what's important. Which is why I said I'm going to choose Rise and Thrive Together tonight, and then I'm going to rest. And I'm not going to work tomorrow. I'm going to go see another doctor, right? That's going to help me on the continued path of healing, and I'm just open to learning. That's self-care. That's self-awareness. Words will make you live in fear. Because the words that we've been trained in our mind is, oh my God, I'm dying. We're all dying, right? We're all worried about dying, but we're not worried about living, right? Right? We have to spend our time living. It's not worried about dying. We're all going to get there. We're all going to transition at some point, but let's live this moment the best as possible. Would you rather be sick and happy or sick and miserable?
Wow.
I don't know if that answered your question, Regina, but that was that, or Delia, if that was like coming up, like that's what was coming up with me about. But this is going back to Adelia's statement. This is who I am now. It's not who I was 5 years ago.
That
Probably
part.
wasn't even who I was 6 months ago. It's through the energy of my experiences that and my focus on continued self-awareness and self-care that I can sit here or half lay here and share this with the audience and share this with you.
Wow.
There's Odelia. She wants to be sick and happy. And she's like,
yes, Odelia.
She's like 100%. She wrote in there.
Wait, but Hal, there's one of your friends, I guess, that said when you said you're taking time off, Pamela said about damn time. She didn't say damn. I'm putting in damn.
I was just saying
But she said about time. She was trying to be pleasant.
No,
I know.
it's
I don't
about
know you,
damn
Pamela, but I
time.
felt the energy of damn in there somewhere.
That's my
Yes,
my sister, and there was surely a damn in there.
Thank you, Pam.
And I love that my sister's last name is Anderson, because when I dial her on my phone and it comes up Pamela Anderson, people are like, "Oh my God, you know Pamela Anderson?" I'm like, "Yeah, my whole life."
Adelia said awareness is her middle name. I love that question though, sis, about self-care and self-awareness. My self-care was I spoke to my mother before getting on this call and my sister, my real sister, blood sister. And so I could get on this call and be like, I'm good. I got it out. Self-care. Right? I couldn't go and take a tub bath and all of that. Self-care isn't the same thing for every single person.
Yep.
And self-care for me sometimes means I have to tap into my community.
Yes.
Yes.
Which I did. I shared it with Hal and Reg when I got on here. I was like, and Kirill, I got on, I was like, I just feel like screaming. And I don't know why. And it was just like one of those days. And guess what? I'm not going to take time to try to figure out why I felt like I was being pulled in all directions. It doesn't matter. Because that time has passed. I'm here now with some amazing people, not just here on the screen, but those of you who are not on the screen, amazing people. And that's all that matters, right? Because I'm good now, mentally, emotionally, physically, I'm good. I'm all better, not like I was bad before, because you just have those days and they're to be expected. So I do engage in self-care. It just doesn't always look like everyone else's. And sometimes screaming is part of my self-care.
And I think the thing that really is powerful, because Hal said it, sis, and because we know each other so well, the three of us, honestly, is when we say it looks different for each person, we've been wired, guys, I'm going to bring up right at the end of the year here of these inherited words and conversations. So it's like this little mind, like when you're in the, like when you're in a store and then all of a sudden, like you're buying something you didn't know because they have like the smell of something that, goes, oh, I'm going to now go buy banana bread, right? Because it's there. It's there. They do that on purpose. When you're in the mall, they have certain smells that have people go and have you like go and purchase things. Why I say that is we've inherited for so long self-care equals baths. Now, I'm not saying any of that's wrong. I'm going to get myself a massage, right? I've gotten a massage for my birthday in April. Have I taken it yet? No. And here's what the community says for the people who gave it to me. What? You didn't take it yet. You didn't take it yet. You didn't take it yet. It's December. It's almost your birthday next year. I got it. And I do love massages. And like Hal was saying, that I also have many other ways of self-care, and community is my jam. So I am community, like I am community. So just like Raquel spoke to her people, when I got to get Hal's text message and find out, I spoke to my people, which is Raquel and my really good friend Diane, just so that I had that safe space to be able to say what I was quote unquote feeling of some concern and some ways to kind of like, maneuver what we need to maneuver. Wanted to offer a gift for Hal, which he graciously accepted. And so, out to like provide whatever support he needs. And all those feelings and emotions prior, because we've been through a lot together, and especially 5 years ago, would have me like in like this such a wheel of like, oh my God, he's dying. Those words that create the reality. Oh my God, what is he doing? And I think the first thing I said to you, Hal, when we spoke, right? You came out of the hospital, he was driving. And I said, hey, are you, safe? Are you okay? Because he drove himself home and he was like, yep, I'm taking it slow. And it was such a shift, I think, for both of us in a long time. Because I'll get on my soapbox. I'll be like, what the hell are you doing? Blah, 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 blah. But I don't think I came across that way, right? Like we were just in that space of like, I really got, one of those things about like words create your reality. It's like when you get to really know that person, you get to give them the space and the grace and the love and the support to support them exactly the way they are and what they need. And I just wanted to have that. That's a big awareness for me. Because you both know I go on my soapbox a lot.
Get on a soapbox? Never. Oh, not you.
I think you hit an important point that I want to just compound with your statement, with both your statements. I think there's self-care, and then there's self-care with conscious awareness, right? So like, for example, today, I knew part of my self-care in that moment was I needed to reach out to certain members of my tribe, right? Like you both shared in your example, but it wasn't just reaching out to be like, hey, like this happened, I need to vent. It was being consciously aware that I needed to be with the right people, with the right energy, that would support that moment. So like, or let's make it a little simpler. When Regina uses that gift certificate for the massage or bubble bath or whatever, like whatever, I forgot what you said it was. We just added
like bubble bath.
we just added that to the gift certificate. You're welcome. You can just use it and be like, okay, that was cool, or you could be consciously aware of the moment, the energy of the moment, which elevates the gift and the experience. Right? That's an extra muscle that I don't think we practice in society. Sorry, pause for a cough.
Pause for a cough. No, that's great. That's great. And all words create your reality, right? It all just goes into that world of, you gave that perfect example of the intention of using that gift certificate is going to be so much more powerful, mind, body, soul, and energetically when I choose to use it exactly like that. I could, like you said, just go use it because I'm like, oh, great. And really, probably a year ago, it could have been anything. It depends on if I'm not very, very grounded to just go and use it because I'm getting that off my list, right? And to get people off my back, right? There's that low energy, that low kind of fixed mindset. Want to get you off my back, right? We're in the holiday times. My guys, how many of us are like, people are on our back about something, rather than shift those words to, thank you for reminding me that that's what you gave me. And absolutely, I'm taking my time to really use that intentionally in a space where I'm ready and like have that whole entire thing set up. So I'm just thank you versus in my head I'm just like, let me go make the call now so I can get everybody off my back, right?
And you can practice the muscle of tuning into the energy around you and the universe messages, because when you tune into it, the universe will provide the right moment and the right experience for when you need to use it, and you'll be aware like this is the moment, that this is the reason this was gifted to me, because now I can use it in this moment instead of like forcing. And that was a big lesson I had to learn. I subconsciously, and this is a lot about what the books are about, subconsciously I was trying to force my narratives in life. You know, some of it was from survival mode, and some of it was from attachments, and some of it was just that journey, like Odelia said, of trying to figure out like who I am. You know, and it just doesn't work that way. And does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go for it.
What I want to, you brought up the book, Hal, and
See how I slipped that in there?
I did. I picked up on, I'm very aware of my surroundings. No.
You are.
But I do want to hear, or our audience, I'm sure, wants to hear about the second book. When does it come out? What's the title? And more importantly, what's it about? The first one was a powerhouse when you came here. So I know the second one is going to be equally as powerful. Can you give us a little something about it?
Yeah, I think, you know, if the audience remembers the first time we talked about book one, which is, you know, the series is called the Beautiful Soul series. And the first book was The Becoming. It was the beginning of my story and my childhood and my experience in education and the family challenges that I had and the struggles that I had trying to figure out like who I was as a teenager and a young adult. Um, Part two, and it was aligned with like fall, like the start of the school year. Part two is coming out December 21st, and it's called The Reckoning. You know, and I think out of all four books, it's probably some of my darkest and most challenging times, which is why I'm aligning it with the first day of winter. You know, and it's the way I see book two is it's a springboard of the lessons and challenges that I experienced in book one, coming to fruition in book two in so many different ways. It takes us into a journey where our main character Scott Matheson, which is basically mostly based on my life story, travels to Texas and you know finds himself in another world with different schools of thoughts and different experiences that are pretty crazy. I really think, not that I was trying to write anything raunchy at all, but it's probably the raunchiest of the four books, and it's not meant to be raunchy, but in the raunchiness, in the experience that I had in Texas, it showed me a side of humanity and a different side of stereotypes. And it was one of the hugest lessons I had in my life, that you don't judge a book by its cover, that everyone has a story, which that lesson started coming in, started being created for me in The Becoming, and then it takes me through that journey and through that darkness and returning to New York and trying to figure out who I am and what I wanted to do in this world, and meeting some really amazing souls that put me on a path, and it ends with my experience of 9/11 and how that sets the foundation for book three, which will be the spring, because the spring is all about rebirth, and that's really what puts me back in the education system, taking all this pain and struggle and all this darkness from book one and book two and saying, whoa, I'm here for a purpose, and we need to change society, and we need to start figuring out how to light everybody up so that humanity can have the future that I know that we can have and that we should have, and it starts with each of us individually. And in all of that, it's my journey of love and mistakes and, all the craziness that I wanted to share that I don't know if anybody wants to read, but but it was a cleansing of my spirit.
Wow.
Yeah.
It was a journey. It's a journey. Sounds like it's a journey through your self-awareness.
100% yes. 100%. And how not being self-aware kept me creating the same pattern. Because when you're not consciously focusing on developing your self-awareness and really working on who you are as a person and what you're about, you you create the same patterns, you
Hmm.
know, and I think that's what I started to say before, and I had kind of lost that train of thought. Like, you create the same patterns, and you have attachments to outcomes, and you don't look deeper for what you're learning and what the possibilities are, right? And that's the whole journey of the 4 books, is really, how do we discover like who we are from our, like, how do we not become our mistakes or our labels or our challenges or our experiences, or how do we take from them and use that for light and positivity? Because I truly believe there's no right and wrong in the world. There's no bad and good. There's experiences. Now, I'll probably get chewed apart for saying that, because people will be like, "Oh my God, this is bad." And how can you say that? But humanity has created a lot of these experiences based on not being self-aware, based on being in reactionary mode, based on fear, based on not being from a place of love, not loving yourself enough to say, I want a better world for me and for everyone else.
Hmm. Wow.
All right, take that in.
Yeah, just a moment to let that marinate and sink in. But one thing you said that I found really interesting, a lot of what you said, but the one thing I want to pull out is when you say we are not our mistakes.
Correct.
You
We
know,
are not.
that's what I got out of it, is that we are not our mistakes. We make them, and our mistakes and failures, whatever you want to title or call it, there's a lesson. So we're not that. What we're doing is learning a lesson. And what that requires is for us to make a
Yeah.
shift in our thinking, a shift in our state, meaning just how we stand, how we're sitting, or how our body language. That makes a shift. And one of the things that I'm working on is this thing about brokenness. And so when you talk about that, that takes me back to being broken, and we see that as something that's bad because we have to label. We're comfortable with labels, even though we say we're not comfortable with labels, but we label everything every darn day anyway, right? And so my thing is seeing brokenness as something that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and we started this conversation by saying we're the creators of our own reality.
Hmm.
What if our mistakes weren't mistakes? What if they were the contrast to creating the clarity of learning or knowing who we wanted to be, right? We can't know who we are or who we want to be. We can't develop that without the contrast, right? You don't know light unless you know dark, right?
Yes.
What's the line from Brent? The opposite of love isn't hate; it's fear. Is that the right? Did I quote that right? I don't know, right?
Mm.
So
Probably.
you
I'll
know,
look it up while you're talking.
thank you. It's contrast, right? We need the contrast to know how we want to show up. We need to make those quote unquote mistakes. We could say it's brokenness, but I think the word brokenness comes from almost like beating ourselves up. But if you go from a place of, I need to practice self care and self awareness, brokenness becomes an opportunity, because you can't know fixed unless you know broken, right?
Right.
Ooh,
And it's how we see it. That's why for me, it's brokenness, but there's beauty in that.
100%.
Most times, though, we just see something that's broken as garbage, something to be discarded. But there's so much beauty within that. And it's just, again, it's about a mindset shift.
Absolutely. And we're all beautiful, right? That's why the book was actually called Beautiful Souls. Like that was literally the book series was named Beautiful Souls, because I really want everybody to realize that everyone is a beautiful soul. Everyone who's come into my life, whether I made a mistake or, you know, it bothers me that some people, I even in the rewrites, I try to fix this a little bit, because in the first release, it was a lot of my own personal, like, getting the junk out, and I felt like some people got cut short and they didn't realize in reading if their character was based on them, or they thought their character was based on them, that they felt shorted, or that they weren't a beautiful soul in my life. Every single person that I've had an experience with, I value and treasure. Whether it's labeled, "Oh, you gave me a broken heart," none of that shit matters. Excuse me for cursing. Like everybody is a beautiful soul, and I feel blessed that they were on their journey, because without them, without contrast, or without challenges, or without the energy of my experience with those people, I wouldn't be the man that I am today. Because it's all learning. It's all love.
Right, right. And you definitely need that. People come into your life. I don't know if any of you have heard this, but people come into your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. It's
Yep.
incumbent upon us, let me use a big word, to know the difference. Someone that's in your life for a season, you can't make them a lifetime. Someone that's there for a reason, you can't make them be there for a season. It's not their purpose or their place. They've come, they served their purpose in your life, and now it's on us to recognize that and be okay when they leave.
That's a beautiful soul, right? That's the whole part of every part of this book.
Yes.
I was blessed to get one of the first copies when they were coming out, and got to read all 4 books when he first put it out a few years ago. And that's huge, right? To be able to notice that every single person in that book, no matter what that perception, it's Hal's perception, and to look back and be able to say, like, serving that purpose and owning that, that you serve that purpose to support his growth and development, that can now help others grow and develop, and see themselves, which I think is really beautiful. And, that you still love them, right? You love them because you thank them for that journey, because it's your journey. Like, you got to see it.
And I think this is really important to say as well. When the book series was written, I was in a different space of healing, and I think the book had to be written the way it was, so that I can get to the next level of healing. If I was, and I do believe a lot of it was really honestly channeled. There was a lot of spiritual connection and love put into the writing, and it was a very, very long process. And the 4 books combined is like 1,100 pages. The original was over 2,000 pages. So there was a tremendous amount of effort. I would never do this, but I am completely aware that if I was to go back and rewrite all those stories, they would be completely different, because of the spiritual involvement that I've had over the last 5 years. There would be a different energy to the stories, which is why I want to be on shows and talk about the book. And it's why I'm so blessed that people are buying the book and asking questions. If anybody has questions on here that have read the book, you can hit me up privately or ask now. I'm open. That I want to have this conversation, because we read stories, especially when they're like sort of biographical or reality based, and we think, oh, well, this guy's a jerk, or this guy had this moment, and but all your moments are, as you learn and you become who you are, your previous moments have different depths and different meanings. I even think about recent relationships in my life. It's kind of like you go through the experience, and then you take a spiritual jump, or a spiritual dive, and in that experience you then go back and look at that relationship and go, huh, I see that relationship differently now. I've learned from that, and that's beautiful. Like, that's self-awareness.
Wow. Yeah, it goes perfectly with the quote. So I looked up the quote you were talking about, how from Rent, where it says, forget regret, or life is yours to miss. No other path, no other way, no day but today. The opposite of war isn't peace, it's creation. There is no future, there is no past. Now that's a whole other show to get into, but like if you take that right then and there, I'm going to make it super simple, and you re-listen to the show, everybody, and even the first show, it sums up a lot of what we're talking about. It really does, right? There's no other path, no other way. There's no other path, no other way, but your path, your journey, and your way. And then there's nothing but today, like you said. If you can look back at that at this moment, right now, at 8:51 or so, Eastern Standard Time, that stories will be completely different, and there isn't this, I love this part, which is the opposite of war isn't peace.
It's creation.
And it goes perfectly with our words create our reality. And why, and however anybody else wants to hear that, I just specifically took that from Deepak Chopra, who I love so much. And other people say, our words create our world, whatever that is. And there's so much around that. But, it really is that, to say that the words that we say create the energy that comes out, that creates the intention of the type of world that we are sitting in right now here at this moment in time. So I love it.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, go.
I thought you were complete. Sorry.
Yeah, I am.
I just got so excited because I was like, oh my God, you just sparked this thought. Obviously, this isn't a political podcast, but right, like there's so much going on in the world. So when you hear the opposite of war is a peace, it's creation. There's certain things and images that come to your mind, which that could be a whole show in itself, and I'd be more than happy to have a conversation about that because, of course, like everything else, I have a different lens on everything, and in addition, the opposite of war isn't peace, it's creation can also be a metaphor for the war that we create inside ourselves with our words, right? So it isn't about it's the same thing that we were saying in the beginning. The opposite of war isn't creating peace internally. It's creating the energy of who you want to be, because we are the creators of our own reality, which is how we started this episode. So the opposite of war isn't peace, it's creation. Who do you want to create yourself to be, and what life do you choose to live, no matter what's happening in the world, no matter what your pro con, you could be pro con all you want, and you could take that war to social media if you want, if that's who you want to be. But it also begins with who you want to be with yourself when you're looking in the mirror, right? Can you look in the mirror and say, I love you, right? That's important. That's where it begins.
Life and death are in the power of the tongue. That means you can speak life into your life, or you can speak death. The choice is yours, and that's what Hal is saying. Can you make the choice? Can you look in the mirror and say, I love you, despite how you may be feeling or what's going on in the outside world? Can you still love you in all of that, in all of the chaos? Can you still do that? And can you say it?
Yay, Odelia.
What I want to know from our audience, because you guys have been listening to us for a while, and I need y'all to get in action here. And I want you to drop in the comments about the words that you use that benefit you.
Oof.
Do you use more words that benefit you, or words that tear you down and destroy you? Because let me tell y'all something. We don't need nobody else to come in and tear us down. We do a damn good job on our own.
Yep.
So what are the words that you use to build you up? And if you don't use enough of them, we want to know that too, because we definitely want to help. We want to help if you want the help.
Absolutely. I love that. So here we are for the three of us. We got this hour went flying. Wow, we got Odelia on. If Odelia can drop some of those words, and I don't know who else. But Rock, you brought it up. What are some of those words that build you up?
Oh, so a word that I love is that I'm a champion. Oh, another word, I got a ton of them. I am a fierce disruptor or interrupter. You can take your pick, whichever one you want to use. Either way, I'm interrupting and disrupting disempowerment. I look at myself and I can say I am awesome and amazing. And guess what? Whatever I'm feeling, whatever emotions I'm having, I still look in the mirror and I'm like, you are awesome and amazing and you got this. So go show them. See, people don't listen to what you say, they listen to what you do. And I know y'all like, well, how do people listen to what you do? Let me give y'all an example. Okay. So you're a parent and you're sitting down smoking on a cigarette, however you smoke a cigarette. I've never done it. I don't know. And you're telling your kid, don't smoke. Smoking is bad for you as you huffing and puffing on that cancer stick. Yes, I said it. It's my show. I can say that. What do you think the child is going to listen to? Are they going to listen to what you're saying or are they going to listen to what you're doing? Because they are in contradiction.
Yep.
People do not listen to what you say, they listen to what you do. So you can't be out there, some of us as coaches, and I'm gonna call y'all out and take y'all to the mat with me, but it's all in love. Some of y'all get out there and you make it seem like your life is so perfect and nothing ever goes wrong. But you want to help people. How are you gonna help me when your life is so perfect? Perfect.
Are you raising your hand, Hal?
I am. I'm like in
Grab the
school.
mic.
Because you want to say something or because you agree?
Oh, I agree, and I want to say something.
Jump on it. This your show. We just here. Go on.
No. You sparked this thought that I wanted to also share with our audience. I mentioned before about the podcast that Brian and I are running called Transforming Education, and we're only in season 1, and we break the podcast down into 3 components because transforming education is a whole other conversation. Like that's really my passion. Is I want to transform the education system, and we broke it down into 3 segments for the reason that you said, Raquel. The first segment we broke down is parent perspective, so we can give some value to parents about issues that they're seeing, they're facing, what are some of the challenges and tips. And then the second segment is same concept, but it's geared toward teachers and administrators. And the third is called Beyond Borders, which we talk about different models around the world and schools of thoughts and what we can take from them, right? But the reason I bring that up is on the parent perspective part, we talk about what you said all the time. Kids are learning from their environment, right? Whether that environment is in the school building or in their household or in their community. And I'm seeing stuff. I try to stay away from negativity and the news because I want to fill my soul with positivity. But sometimes it comes up. It's all over social media.
Life.
And I'm seeing things that the kids are doing or things that are happening in humanity that I know that they're learning at home or from the streets, and that everybody is in reactionary mode. What would life look like, Raquel, if our notion was to set the example, right? And set the example of being love. What if the mindset of every family household was, how do we get self-aware? How do we get self-care? And how do we teach each other that we each matter? That you as my child matters, and that me as your parent matters. And how can we support that? Everyone's fighting. It's not, I'm making a blanket statement, not everyone, right? But just to illustrate the point, everyone seems to be in reactionary mode, and they feel like they're not in reactionary mode. I mean, I feel like they're in reactionary mode because we don't have that mindset, and that's what the podcast. That's what the podcast is about. Like, how do we get there? And I think it really does start at home, or vice versa. You can have an amazing home life, right, where you have all that loving and support. Like I imagine is happening, in Regina's home with Lexi, right? Because I know Regina and the type of person she is and the type of person Josh is, and if they send Lexi to school and the school is not supporting those values, right? That then Lexi's going to be learning some negative values, in the school building. So when you talk about transforming a system, it's got to match, right? Right. All the components of the system have to support each other, right? Or we're gonna keep reacting. And you're right, Raquel. They're gonna pick up that cigarette because they see that you're doing, or even worse, they're gonna pick up that gun, right? And they're going to walk into the school and get angry and shoot someone, as the 20,000 shootings since, school shootings since, not 20,000, sorry, 2,000 school shootings since 1970 happened in our school buildings, which is still 20,000, 2,000. One shooting is too much, in my opinion.
Right.
Which is why we need to start transforming the system. But I got way off topic from Regina's first question.
No, it's
No,
beautiful.
you're fine. But Hal, in the time that we don't have left,
It's over.
tell us one, when the Reckoning comes out and people can purchase it on where they can purchase it. Also, tell us about Transforming Education podcast and when folks can listen to that.
So perfect. So The Reckoning comes out December 21st.
In time for Christmas, y'all grab that book. Go on and grab
Christmas.
that.
Thank you. And thank you everyone who, somebody messaged me the other day. They said they bought 4 copies as Christmas gifts. And I was like, I had tears in my eyes. I was like, thank you so much. Thank you for those who are buying the book. I also want people not to buy the book just to buy the book to support me. I want people to buy the book as a resource and to reach out to me and have conversations. And
I want y'all to buy the book to support him and have it as a resource. So there's twofold reason. Go ahead, finish. Sorry.
And the book is 100% donated to charity also, which is kind of also who I am. It's not about me putting money in my pocket. It's me, supporting youth programs and self-development programs that I truly believe in. And the other question was transforming education. We're in our first season. We've been recording weekly, and we've been releasing an episode once a week. The episodes get released on Sunday night. They're on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Just it's Transforming Education with Hal Eisenberg, which is really an unfair name because Brian Ackley is my co-host, and he's been amazing. It's been me and him for 8 episodes, and then the last 4 episodes we're bringing on special guests and changing the format. So we've recorded 3 out of 4 of those guests already, and the conversations are just mind-blowing and phenomenal, and really gives me hope that there's so many like-minded people that want to transform the system, that they see that the system is broken. But as we said before, broken to me, means possibility, and that's kind of going back to Regina's question. The word I say to myself, the phrase that I say to myself to lift myself up all the time is, what's possible? Laying in a stretcher this morning, it was like, okay, what's possible about my day? What's possible about this experience? If somebody crosses me and I'm hurt, I do 2 things. What's possible here? And I see the person in all the love that I want to see them as, instead of seeing them as somebody who cross or being in reactionary mode. So everything's about love and what's possible in the world.
Awesome. Hal, thank you so much. Truly a pleasure. Thank you, one, for being you and being committed to your purpose and your mission in this life. We do appreciate you staying with us, joining us where you could have been sleeping, but sleep is overrated. You get enough of that when you're dead. We appreciate you. Guys, pick up The Becoming, and December 21st, pick up The Reckoning. Okay, there's a reason why they're released during the seasons, because those are the seasons of life.
Yes.
Everyone, we want to thank you. We appreciate you. Go ahead, Hal, you had something?
No, that just touched me. I was like, those are the seasons of life. I'm like, I might have to steal that for marketing. That was really awesome.
That's okay. You can have it. I will freely give it to you.
Thank you.
But guys, we thank you so much for tuning in and being with us here on this special power hour of Rise and Thrive Together. And remember, together we can rise and thrive. Till next time.